What's going on, everybody? Welcome to a brand new video. In this video, I'm going to be showing you my HoTA slash Thorns build. So let's get into it. Alright, we're going to start out with the abilities so you know what I'm running, and then when we get into the gear, my abilities will make more sense, if that makes sense. Starting out, we're going to go with Lunging Strike, but we're going with the Battle Lunging Strike. This also inflicts a bleed. We're going to be taking the passive node that makes when people are bleeding, they are slowed. So this will slow when in situations when you have someone running away from you. Then we're coming down to Hammer of the Ancients. This is where 99% of our damage is coming from. We're taking Fury's Hammer of the Ancients. Hammer of the Ancients deal 1% additional damage for each point of Fury you had when using it. And you'll see when everything's popped, my Fury bar is just skyrocketing, constantly going to full, so you're constantly throwing down the big bangs. Coming down to our defensive skills now. I got Imposing Presence for the extra max life. If I had a choice, I would like to get more into this, but just my skills are already scattered. So 1 point into that. But this is a PvP build, so I did go for the damage reduction against elites. Increased by 9%. That's a must. Rallying Cry. We're going to go with the Tactical Rallying Cry. Generates Fury, 20 Fury. In addition, 20% resource generation. This is huge for big burst damage. Then we come down to Iron Skin. A lot of barbs I don't see using Iron Skin as much, but I really think it's an underrated skill. So we're coming down here to the Tactical Iron Skin. While Iron Skin is active, heal for 10% of the barrier's original amount as life per second. This is really nice when you're going up against somebody who gets you low, you pop it, all of a sudden you have a barrier, and then your health just starts skyrocketing. Especially in PvP situations where you have the cooldown on your health potion, this is really a must in PvP. Coming down, we have Outburst and Tough as Nails. I have Tough as Nails maxed out, and I have +1 into the amulet slot. We are using Razor Plate as our chest piece, so Thorns is a part of this build, so I am stacking up on the Thorns through Tough as Nails. Coming down to our brawling skills, we're taking Warcry, specifically Mighty Warcry. Grants you a base life 484 as Fortify. I honestly, this is a PvP situation, one-on-one, you're not going to get this bonus. So, Mighty Warcry, I'll take that. Coming down, Booming Voice, Raid Leader, and Guthrie Yell. 2 in Raid Leader and Guthrie Yell, and then maxing out Booming Voice, getting the maximum duration we can on our shouts. Coming down, we get Aggressive Resistance. Gain 3% damage reduction while berserking. We're going to be berserking a lot when we're fighting, so damage reduction is huge. While berserking, Fury generation is increased by 6%. I put 1 into this because just extra 6% of Fury generation. Like I said, you just see our Fury generation when we're actually fighting just skyrocket. Come down, we get Pit Fighter for the damage reduction and bonus damage. Really nice passive there. And we get 2 into No Mercy for the extra critical chance against slowed, stunned, or immobilized enemies. This goes well with Hamstring and our Lunging Strike. Coming to Hamstring, you're just putting 1 in here because you want to get that 10% slow on the enemies with your Lunging Strike. And we come down, we get 1 point into Thick Skin. Then we get Max Out Counter Offensive. Deal 12% increased damage after you're at 50% max life is Fortify. Gonna have that a lot. Defensive Stance, more damage reduction there. Now coming down to our ultimate skills, this is where the build really becomes more situational, and that's the ultimate skills itself. We get Tempered Fury and then Invigorating Fury. Heal 9% of max life for every 100 Fury spent. We're always spending a lot of Fury, so you're always healing. Coming back to Iron Skin, between those two passives, you really skyrocket when you're at low life. Because we're using a two-handed weapon, the bludgeoning weapon, you deal 15% increased critical strike damage. We're going to always take heavy-handed because we want those big damage numbers. Now, where it gets subjective is you have Call of the Ancients and you have Wrath of the Berserker. Now, I would say situations are situational, and most of the time I'm taking Call of the Ancients. You gain 10 Fury each time Korlik damages an enemy with Fury. So when this actually is popped, your Fury bar just goes to full, and you just go bang, 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 and usually whatever is in front of you is dead immediately. But sometimes you go against hard CC builds, such as like an Ice Sorceress. That's when I would come down to Wrath of the Berserker, getting that unstoppable, getting that longer lasting berserking, because like an Ice Shard source is just going to constantly throwing barrages of those Ice Shards, proccing our Thorns, and you'll see in the gameplay, that's how I kill some sources, you know, just messing around. So, whatever you're going up against, you got to know if you're getting hard CC, get the extra unstoppable with Wrath of the Berserker, or if somebody you need to burst down quickly, go with Call of the Ancients. And then, as our key passive, we go with Unbridled Rage, because 135% increased damage, but the Fury costs 100% more. This is really not an issue, and it's where we're getting our big damage numbers, because 135% is huge. Coming to our expertise now, I have Polearm right now for the lucky hit chance, because I was running lucky hit fortification on the items. But normally I would run like a sword expertise, because you're getting bleed damage, which is slowing all of the enemies. Coming to our gear now, we have the Damaging an Elite grants you barrier, absorbing 5,309 damage. So essentially in a PvP situation, you're jumping in this barrier procs, you're fighting. If you don't kill the enemy by the time this barrier's up, then you have the opportunity to pop your Iron Skin, giving you another barrier. So you have a barrier throughout the entire fight. Coming down to our chest now, we're running the Ancestral Razor Plate with 9,954 Thorns. This, I was just messing around with this, and all of a sudden I'm just like, I need this in my build. This is just so much fun on the barb. I'm having so much fun. I got this one clearly at level 61, and I've been using it. I'm level 71 right now and haven't looked back. Coming down to our gauntlets, more for our Thorns. Thorns damage is dealt as a 24% chance to deal all around you. This is more for PvE instead of PvP. Down to our pants now. You gain 0.5% increased armor for 4 seconds when you deal any form of damage, stacking up to 50%. Now, you may say, well, a HoTA barb, he's really just dropping a hammer, and then you need to stack back up, drop the hammer again. So a lot of times you're not actually getting to the maximum amount of damage reduction through this item with the HoTA barb. But because you're running Thorns, it is actually proccing this as well. So you'll see in the gameplay that I go into a pack and all of a sudden I'm instantly almost at 100%. So this with Thorns is almost a must for me. This is an amazing combination. While unstoppable for 4 seconds, you gain 10% increased movement speed and can move freely through enemies. Now, the reason why we're doing this is because we have two different unstoppable skills on our hotbar, being Iron Skin and Rallying Cry. Also, if you go back and get Wrath of the Berserker, you can add a third, so you're always at that and moving speed bonus. We're using the Iron Skin grants unstoppable and damage reduction for 23%. This is obviously just a low roll. I just threw on this amulet, and still I think it's a great spot for this particular aspect, because somebody gets you at low life, a rogue for example, with poison. You pop on your iron skin, now you're unstoppable. Now you're getting damage reduction, and you're getting healed over time with the barrier active. Plus, you're getting more damage with the barrier active. I think iron skin is a great ability. Coming to our rings now, your shout skills generate 2 to 4 fury per second while active. Big burst coming out when our shouts are active. You'll see when Call the Ancients and our shouts are active, our fury bar is almost never empty. It's almost always full. Coming back to our next aspect, whenever cast a shout skill, its cooldown is reduced by 1.8 seconds per nearby enemy, maxing up to 6 seconds. This is just huge for the barbarian in general. If you're running a barb, you're probably going to want to run this as a ring. Instead of having the 24-second cooldown, you're around 6 monsters, all of a sudden you're at 16 seconds. Plus with a little bit of cooldown reduction, you really have you're always popping your shouts. Sword now, we are using deal 34% increased damage while you have a barrier active. And you see, because of our helmet aspect, our iron skin, we're almost always getting the most value out of this passive itself, because we always have a barrier active. Going to our next item, we have basic skills, gain 15 increased attack speed. I ran this build without this, and it just doesn't seem as good. The higher basic attack speed you have, the better the HoTA barb feels. Trust me on this. Try it, run it, you'll love it. Now, our next one-handed weapon, we are using gain Thorns while berserking. Because we're berserking a lot when we're fighting, we're taking our Thorns, adding another 2,500 to it. Our current Thorns are at right around, I believe, 13,000 Thorns. Yes. So you're getting an extra 2,500 on top of that. Really nice. You'll see in the gameplay. I just stand, especially in PvP situations where you're doing an altar, those little minions that come around you, I don't even bother attacking them with this build. They just kill themselves with my Thorns. Coming to our two-handed mace now, we are using the Hammer of the Ancients, Quakes Outward, dealing 92% of its damage to enemies. Using this for obvious reasons. We're using Hammer of the Ancients as our main damage dealer. Without this, the Hammer of the Ancients, still good, not as good. And now, last but not least, we're going to come to our Paragon board here. I am only level 77, so I have a ways to go. But as you can see from the gameplay, I am dominating level 90s. When I was level 60, I was dominating 70s and 80s. This build is insane in PvP. So starting off, we come up the right side, get our 20% physical damage, plus our maximum life. Perfect. Come up here, we got our glyph. I'm using the glyph Wrath because we're critting so much. Every time we crit strike, we gain 3% fury, also helping us getting more Hammer of the Ancients off. I only got this node to help with the Wrath glyph, but 200 armor is nothing to really scoff at. It's a good node. So we come with the left side, get 20% more physical damage, and then we get our first board. We're going to go with the Warbringer. For every 75 fury you spend, you gain 12% of your max life as Fortify. Because we're spending so much fury, we're always getting Fortify. It's such a good passive. I recommend going this right off the bat first. It's so good. Came up the right side, we got 20% damage while fortified, plus Fortify generation. Shortly thereafter, we got the Max Fury node, because Max Fury with the Hammer of the Ancients passive, you're getting 1% pure max Fury when it was spent as damage. This helps our damage out. Then next we went and got our Warbringer passive. Coming up here, we got our next glyph socket. I'm using Marshall. I wanted to test out the cooldown reduction with shouts. I don't think this is quite worth it. The 1.2 isn't really that great, but I'm going to continue to level it to 15 because I want to test out the bonuses, because you're getting 9% and this isn't even maxed out yet. Then coming over here, we get Hungering Fury. Just wanted to get this node. Eventually I will get the other max Furies and probably the Fury on kill, but I wanted to go to the next board and specifically get these nodes here. 5% damage while berserking, and because this is a PvP oriented build, I wanted a 16% damage to elites, because other players are classified as elites when you're fighting them. Then we came down, we got Carnage while berserking. Crit strikes increase your attack speed by 2% up to 8% for 6 seconds. We're critting a lot, so this will have our attack speed much higher. And like I said before, lunging strike with higher attack speed just feels so much better on this build. Coming down, then we get our Fierce node, 10% damage while berserking. Not quite there to get the extra 10%, but we are working on towards that. We came here, we filled out the 5% node, all the 5% nodes here. Then we got our next glyph socket. I'm currently using Ire because we're using berserking in our build so much. It just makes sense. While berserking, you take 10% reduced damage from elites. This is a PvP build, perfect for our build. Then we came over here, got the Brash, 4.5% damage reduction from close enemies. We're always going to be close to enemies, so boom, helps our build out even further. Last but not least, we came down here and got Enraged, more 10% damage while berserking and more berserking duration, because with our item, the longer our berserking we're getting the extra Thorns. So if you're hitting us while we're berserking, you're taking extra damage, and you're probably taking extra damage from our HoTA as well. Alright, there you have it. There's my HoTA Thorns build. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you enjoy this build and enjoy it as much as I have been enjoying it, playing it in PvP. If you enjoyed this video, give me a like, and I post Diablo content about every 2 to 3 days. And if you're into Diablo, why don't you think about subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next video.